Alright, so my content is all over the board. I speak about the things that I've struggled with, thinking that maybe other people have struggled with them as well. In this case, parenting an INFP. I'm doing this as a follow up to my other video and maybe as something that you can show somebody or helps you gain a little perspective. This is in response to a comment I got on my other video, and I felt like there was probably room for and a need for a part two. Man, my allergies are getting me. Anyway, the biggest challenge for me in parenting my INFP daughter, and the thing that I would tell anybody that has an INFP child, and the messed up thing is, the burden obviously isn't on the child to help you parent them, because they're still in their process of learning and trying to figure out what's nurture, what's nature, who are they, and they're trying to root and ground themselves. And so it's kind of our job sometimes as parents to get an idea of the motivation. So if you have an INFP child, if you are an INFP child that's struggling with a parent, I would definitely recommend reading on it as much as possible, because I think there are definitely some unique and very different challenges that come with raising an INFP. I know some INFPs that grew up in super easy households, no problems. There was nothing that really challenged their INFP personality. I think for me as a parent, I was talking to my daughter recently. I think she probably likes the fact that she had an ENTP dad, because I definitely made her a little tougher and not in a way that was overly difficult for her. But I think I was probably still a challenge for her. As a parent, though, the one thing that drove me nuts, and you have to remember, is when INFPs will go somewhere else. Their body will stay there, and they'll be in front of you looking at you, but their head is a million miles away. I'm not even sure if it's still on Earth. I think they have some weird happy place that they can go to that's like some Don Knotts movie where it's like half anime, half person, and they're off in that little land with little birds chirping, little anime birds on their show. I don't know. I have no clue. I can just tell you that now, later in life, when it doesn't help me anymore because my daughter's already an adult, I can identify when an INFP disappears. And they tend to do that if they feel like they're being criticized, if there's any conflict or whatever. Now, as a parent, a lot of parenting is criticizing certain things or being critical. Now, let's not even say criticizing, because there's nothing wrong with critical thinking and being critical. So, maybe it's cleaning, and part of being a parent is teaching, no, do it this way, or no, when you clean the bathroom, clean in order of dirtiness, clean the counters first, clean the sink, clean the mirror, and then go to the bathroom, then throw out that rag or sponge, or go to the toilet and then throw out that rag or sponge. And so there were a lot of things that I would try to explain to my daughter, and if it would hit a certain point of, I don't even know what the trigger was. A certain point of confrontation, or maybe I'm a super passionate person. I'm like that guy that you're always having to tell shh shh shh, like, because I'm excited about something, which frequently gets taken as me being upset. So I don't know. It just, at some point they just disappear. Now, I didn't know this, so I would go ahead and be like, no, you have to paint the house like this. Listen, do this, put the roller in the thing, get the paint on it, do this, or whatever I would say, and then she would be like, okay, 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 and she would just agree to anything to get out of the situation. I think that's key. Know that they're just gonna agree to anything. If you tell them that you're gonna start cutting off fingers one by one, they're gonna be like, okay, 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 just so that they can get away from that situation and get back into their happy place. And that is super frustrating, super frustrating as a parent, because you there's nobody you care about in this world more than your child, and you want to see them do well, and you want to give them the guidance and the direction that they need to do well. But when you're teaching somebody to drive or paint or clean or cook, or how to do a recipe, mix the liquids and the powders together first, or whatever it is, but they have a hard time with the critical component of life and conflict, because life is nothing but conflict. It's constant conflict. We're in conflict with gravity. We're in conflict with gasoline in our cars, with needing more sleep, with getting hungry, with having to use the bathroom. There's constant conflict in life, and not all young INFPs are as good at dealing with or understanding that conflict also goes into interpersonal dynamics, parents, siblings, so on. And it's okay to have conflict, and conflict is like polishing a mirror, and the mirror gets polished through the abrasive kind of rubbing, and conflict can be a lot like that. And I'm talking about healthy things. I'm not talking about somebody being abusive, and I'm not talking about somebody, pushing lines, trying to, it's dangerous for me to even talk about this, because everybody's idea of maybe what's abusive is going to be different. And I think an INFP child might be a little bit more sensitive and feel like something's abusive, even if it's in the realm of still parent-child dynamics. But so that's difficult. And I think I'm trying to make this video in response to a comment on my other video. So I'm thinking about the struggles I had, so you as an INFP know, but also talk about as a parent the things that you're not alone in, and how to be the best parent that you can. So I would definitely say that if you have something you're trying to teach an INFP, if you're at all close to frustrated, I'm not the best teacher. So I think if you're in that situation, really try to find a way to sit down, maybe write it out, maybe write out very clear step-by-step instructions, and don't get frustrated when something gets skipped or doesn't get followed. Maybe help supervise until they got it down pat the first time, and the second, and the third, probably the fourth, or maybe the fifth. But and affirmation. INFPs are beyond affirming, and I think they need a lot of affirmation. That was something I had a really hard time with. I wouldn't blindly affirm, but I would definitely try to give a lot of affirmation. I don't think that unwarranted affirmation would probably be healthy. I think it's something that an INFP should have to work for. I think it's something everybody should have to work for. Just be sensitive to the fact that INFPs maybe need a little bit more of it. So even if you can just say, you did a great job, I know that was hard for you today to have that conversation, but you did a really good job hanging in there. I think that's important. Motivation and cleanliness. My daughter's not going to be a housekeeper for a living, ever, for sure. And she probably will never be able to afford a housekeeper. So remember that INFPs are actually, for education level, they're the most educated in relation to how low they're paid. They typically do things they love. They'd rather play a guitar for coins next to a fountain at a mall than have a job that they hate. So don't try to kill their spirit or personality. Just accept that they probably don't have a goal to be a doctor or a lawyer. They wouldn't make great doctors or lawyers. It would be a very stressful job for them. Not that they couldn't, but I think it would just be a very detailed driven job that would kind of kill their spirit. So don't place unrealistic expectations. Remember that there's music that the doctors and lawyers listen to that inspire them, and somebody has to make that music. Somebody has to create I'm getting goosebumps. Somebody has to create the beauty in the world, and I think that's what INFPs are there to do. They're there to inspire in a lot of ways. They're there to be that amazing nanny, and still goosebumps. Because it's true. Like, I think INFP's skill sets are frequently undervalued, um, like by a lot. So man, what they're good at, they're good at. And I think you should really nurture that. If you have any inclination that you have an INFP child, get them whatever they want, easel, art stuff, music stuff, cameras, whatever they want to really focus on that, and don't try to pressure them to fit into your idea of what's going to be successful, because they are never going to meet that level of success, like, ever. And I don't think that the disappointment of not meeting a level of success, that they shouldn't try to go down that path anyway. On top of you being disappointed that they didn't, that's not going to help anybody. Instead, make sure that they have the tools needed to be amazing at being who they are. And if they're broke, I don't they're not going to give a fuck. They quite honestly just aren't going to care. Like, if they have a lot of money, it's because it was something that was important to them, and they did it, and they did it well, and they were rewarded with finances over it. But they're not going to give a shit. Like, they just aren't going to care. They're going to be as happy as they're going to be no matter what. And I think that's like one of the beautiful things about them, is that they are so in their head that I think you just have to remember that it's a thread that you can't just go tugging on, because it holds everything together. It's part of their fabric. So part of the things that are going to be struggles about parenting an INFP are things that are what make them such beautiful people. I don't know. I end these videos, and I feel like I could talk about a topic for eternity, and I end these videos with such, like, I don't know if I said everything I needed to say. So this definitely falls into that category. I can't be an all-encompassing tutorial on raising an INFP. I'm not trying to be a care guide on it. All I can talk about is my experience with my INFP, and maybe some other INFPs can comment. Last thing I'm going to mention is punishment. I said in my other video that I never figured out a good way to punish an INFP. I'm not big on rewarding the behavior that I think should be expected. I'm more of a punish the deviations from the baseline. I never figured out an effective punishment, and maybe you INFPs can comment on something that would be healthy and constructive and motivate you. I don't want to say exercise. I don't want to say yard work. I have no idea. Definitely not taking shit away, because they don't give a fuck about their shit. Maybe they're like pencils. I guess I could have taken my daughter's pencils away, but shit, if she had one, to be honest with you, she probably would have burnt a piece of wood and just drew with chalk. Like, she just wouldn't have cared. So, but if you INFPs have any thoughts, let me know. And I think that's it. I mean, I don't know that I was hoping that this would be like a 6-minute video, not 13 plus minutes. But all right, I'm gonna stop like struggling with the end and just call it the end. Peace out.